Do we have any members of the public on Zoom? If so, please identify yourself.
Jennifer Curley, City of Houston.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. And again, as normally, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Order of business is to approve the minutes from February 26, 2025. If I could have a motion to approve the minutes, please. Lisa, second. Hudson, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting approved. Okay, we'll suspend reinvestment zone number 16 and call to order the Uptown Development Authority. Again, board members on Zoom, members of the public on Zoom. Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind identifying yourself again.
Jennifer Curley, City of Houston.
Thank you very much. Do we have any comments from the public? We do not. First order of business to approve the minutes of the February 26, 2025 meetings. I have a motion to that effect. Please, Judson, second. Lisa, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. All right, Shannon, we're going to turn it over to you for some invoices.
All right, great. Thank you. On page 4, you see a roster of invoices and reimbursements that we have for you today. Primarily reimbursements to the district for project management and administration, and then a few items under the UDA for professional consultants and other items, all in total just over $248,000 for your approval. Pages 5 and 6 is just a little bit more information and a contract or work order that pertains to these items here. Are there any questions or concerns about the invoices that we have before you?
The flop invoice,
Yes, sir.
how frequent is that invoice?
That's an annual invoice, and this is for FY25. We'll pay that each year.
I just want to say that they tried to go up on us after we were like their number one. We helped in marketing, and TJ, who's not here, handled our security, and JC kept on, and then they gave us a 5-year contract at the old room. And we were like, we're the first district, probably in the country, that was completely,
We're happy with the results of that.
Yeah, they have 63 cameras, and we had a 3D sergeant who's now lieutenant that runs the program. And he says they're some of the most effective cameras in the city. Okay. And they don't only get people that might be preying on cars, breaking cars and stuff here. They also get people that are like driving through from the east side to the west side, west side to the east side. So they're very effective.
Okay. I think you showed us some stats not so long ago about climate going down and breaking.
Last meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, could I have a motion to approve payment of the invoices, please? Lisa, thank you. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right. Motion passes. We'll stay with Sharon for the MWD.
Thank you. On page 7, we have a summary of our MWD small business expenditures for the UDA. Top section just looks at all of our expenditures cumulatively since inception. You can see that we more than exceed the goals that we've set for ourselves. The bottom half just looks at this fiscal year to date. You can see that professional goals 52%, construction 4%. I will remind you that we are finishing up with the Wilson's Gully drainage project, and that's why that's low. But we did obtain the 17% goal for that particular project. And the following pages is just a little bit more information on that with some graphs that depict how the percentage goes up and down based on the pay apps that you're paying. Are there questions or concerns?
Okay, I don't think there's any action that we take. We now do come to our substantive items for this meeting. I'm not sure Stephen, Dan, and Jessica. Jessica's here, so I suspect that means you're going to tell us about it.
They only come when it's time to talk about your debt. It seems like. And this time I brought a friend. I'm going to introduce, and some of you already know, Rachel Beaton. She's not a new lawyer, but she's a new lawyer, ABHR. And 5-6 years ago, she worked at Uptown. So I invited her along to see some of you again.
Jessica, before you get started with the amendment, Shannon is going to give the board a little financial information about why we're here with this.
Just a quick overview. Just to give you an overview, March 24, we did the first amendment, which was to reflect an interest rate change. The contract went from BSBY, to SOFR, which we're now at. This amendment that we're talking about today is mainly to extend the term of the note to 2026. Just as an overview of how we came into this partnership with Regions, back in 2018, we secured a note program to the tune of $27 million. It was a 3-year term. We used those funds primarily to finance our commitment to the land bridge of about $30 million. By the end of the term, we had spent about 22 million of the 27 capacity. And then in 2021, we issued 15 million to term that out long term. That was our capacity at the time. So we did carry over a balance of about $6 million at the time when we were negotiating a new note program of 15 million. So we went into that with a balance of 16 million. And over the last few years, we've spent up to 13 million with completing the land bridge project, as well as completing our commitment to TxDOT for the north end of the Post Oak Boulevard project. So that's a quick overview. Again, we're at about 13.1 on principal draws. You can see the 6.6 that we brought over, the 2 subsequent draws for the projects, and then accumulated interest is just over $14.1 million on that note. And again, we're talking about extending the terms to 26. All the other variables are the same. The rate, which is what was very good and gracious of Regions to extend it for the year at the same terms. And so, and then in the bottom, if someone had a question about what the SOFR rate was, it's about 4.29 yesterday, and then calculating that based off of the terms, we just over 4% on that. So that is still good rate in this environment, and we're glad that they extended a term, which gives us a little bit more time to figure out how we're going to finance that balance.
Does it float or is it fixed for the term?
It
It's
floats.
1 month.
One
silver.
float.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Questions about the overview? Okay,
Anybody?
thank you.
I think you said everything I wanted to say. That was a great slide. So as Shannon said, we asked the bank to extend it for a year. When that term does expire, so it would ordinarily expire April 18th of this year. It'll extend to April 17th of next year. Hopefully bond interest rates will have come down a little bit. This gives us some time to wait out that market. When the term does expire, we'll issue bonds to take out the outstanding notes. So what's,
If we can't issue bond,
maybe they'll extend it another year.
they will.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But they don't have a whole lot of choices.
right.
That's right.
Well, I mean, they can enforce the contract that says we'll issue bonds to take them out.
And we can reach in our back pocket and pay it all,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
There you go.
I'll pause on any questions about what the program is, and then I'll explain what your housekeeping work is to approve this. Anybody? Okay, so we have a resolution authorizing the execution of the amendment, and both are in your board packets. I just have a paper copy. I'm not sure what tab it's under.
On page 13.
Oh, yeah, it is numbered.
Right.
Page 13 is the resolution. Behind that is the amendment, and all it says is that we're extending the term to April 17th. Same rates, oops, it's down 79% of SOFR plus 0.71.
Question. Anybody? Honestly, it's a pretty good deal considering that they are not actually obligated.
It is, yeah.
That's right.
I think we were a little bit surprised that they agreed.
Mhm.
We've got some fast talking bankers.
Okay. If there are no questions, would someone like to make a motion to approve, approve the resolution?
That's right.
Correct.
Judson, second. Lisa, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know.
Before we start on the projects, updates and operations, this photo here, that's up to Broadman Park. It's a great photo. And the director's wall is just out of the photo on the left. So if y'all haven't been by, y'all should go by.
I did.
Take a
Great.
quick look, yeah.
Great.
So it's,
Be beautiful when the ivy gets behind it.
yeah, it will, really will be. The first,
My son, he's
y'all should have all gotten an email from Amy. Last board meeting, there was a request to look at some of the housing data that we got. Something I think Justin had already gotten a copy and we sent it back around and it was basically, this. This is basically the, presentation that the housing department, Mike Nichols, the new director of the city of Houston Housing gave us on the 100 million that was, financed in 2021 with increment, housing dollars increment. And so this goes through all the different projects. I don't have this, we're not gonna go through this, but what I am gonna go through is show you the map of where the money is spent. Uptown is right here. You can see the housing dollars are spent all around Houston and not anywhere around Uptown. These are 4 different programs. This is a home buyer choice program. This is the affordable home development program. You can see they're in neighborhoods that aren't even close to Uptown. This is the new home development program. They've got all these different. That would be my wife.
It's an excellent team.
Star Wars.
Excellent team. I'm jealous.
Yeah, and this is another one, home buyer assistance program. You know, they're all spread out around Houston. We have spent somewhere 240 million on so far on public housing throughout the city of Houston. That includes the 100 million since the inception of the TIRZ. That's a big investment. And now when there's looks like there might be affordable housing dollars being cut back, the federal government, it's going to be even more important. These dollars. So I'm happy to go through this with anybody. We're going to try to get more update from the housing department. We got 2 pots of money. We got the debt service that we're paying, that's the $100 million. And then we have about 7-8 million we give each year that go to the housing department that they use for other services. So we're going to try to get a little more, Justin, a little more granular on that.
And those 2 slides are in our packet. Right?
Those slides are all emailed to you. This is one document, the map, and then from those dots are what the program is.
In the hard copy right there.
This is a hard copy right here. It's one,
That's
but
what I have. In
yeah, okay. So yeah, if anybody wants more, go on.
And this is looking back. How long?
This was the 100 million that was spent 2021. That was refinanced in 2021.
So
I
looking
think
forward.
yes, moving forward. And when we got this, there was still a couple million that hadn't been spent. That has been spent since. I talked to Mike Nichols. He said it has been spent. So that's just a little background. Shows you where the money's being spent. So if anybody wants to criticize Uptown TIRZ on, we're one of the biggest financiers of public housing, local affordable housing in the city of Houston.
Not
We are
not in our district.
Not in our district. We are these are city dollars. So city dollars flow through us.
So it's a good counter to those that say it shouldn't stay here. It's not that we're trying to keep the money away from us, but we want to take credit for it going elsewhere.
We are
For those that are
reinvesting
hard on us for it not
Yes.
being, you know,
It was part of
we have to
the.
be sure we say it the right way. We're not trying to repel it. We're trying to spread it
We're
for the right.
We're no
benefit.
repel.
Right.
You know, it was part of the original, when the petition TIRZ was set up. If your petition TIRZ, 1/3 goes to affordable housing around the city. And we decided not to do it in Uptown proper, like Midtown does. Ours goes back to the city when they decide where it's.
And they're putting it in all the best places. And
Yes.
we're grateful.
Places it's needed.
Right.
Exactly. So we're happy to go through,
Well, we have no say in that too, right? Where
No.
they spend it.
and so the county, now it's on board, the county is a little bit different. They're gonna spend theirs within 3 miles of the boundary of Upton. Which takes in Gulfton, takes in some places north of the park.
There's some wonderful opportunities nearby. That's great.
Yeah. And as we talked about the finances and the what we just did, we have had in our long-term budget, looking out to 2040, which is the end of the TIRZ, we have already put a placeholder in for that money for that bond that we'll have to do next year. The refinancing we'll have to do next year. We have I've talked from time to time. Last year in my first year budget, we talked about we're looking at a 5-year CIP, and we said we have some challenges going forward, but we just looked at the 5-year CIP. Since then, Shannon and I have been looking, going all the way out to 2040. Because we're close enough to 2040 to do some predictions, and the predictions that happened before weren't correct. And so it puts us in a little bind with the tri-party agreement. Tri-party agreement has an exhibit A that says you'll do this for ecological restoration and maintenance, and it has escalator clause and all that kind of stuff. And we have, and Shannon and I have been working with Memorial Park Conservancy, and we just sent it to the Kinder Foundation about here's our projection going out to 2040. And so we'll end up bringing that back after we have conversations. We're not going to be able to hit those numbers. It's not because Uptown's not doing good. Uptown's doing great. We have over 300 restaurants that are doing great. We have over 30 hotels. We got new developments like Coastal Apartments being built, 1.5 million square feet. If y'all came in, y'all see the fencing going around this building. And we'll go through it in a little bit. Midway is going to redevelop this area. Got a lot of new restaurants. Simon's is investing tens of millions more in the Galleria. We did 5.5 million in retail sales last year, which is before before the pandemic. Was it 2.8?
2.8.
3.8?
Yes.
3.8. So 3.8 to 5.5. We've grown. So here, you have seen this before. What you haven't seen is the yellow part. And so I'll go over again. This is, the TIRZ was started in 1999. This is a historical kind of picture of the increment and the valuations for the UDA and Uptown TIRZ. Back in 2000, the valuation was 2.1 billion. And the blue line is where we have gone. The valuations have gone all the way out to 2030. Now this 7.7 will come down a little bit. I don't know how. Shannon doesn't know how, we don't know, but it'll come because of litigation settlements, etc. It'll come down a little bit. At the same time, this is the city tax rate for $100 valuation. Back in 2000, it was 65.8, 65.9 cents per $100. You can see it's basically flat, flat, flat. We hit 14, it starts dropping. 63 cents, 59 cents, 59, 56, and now we're at, as of this past year, it's 51.9. And because of the borough, it's flattened out for 1 year. They didn't go down on it. They stayed the same. And so tax rates going down. We have flattened out on valuations. And if you look at the historical downturns, in 2008, 2009 was the Great Recession, the global financial crisis that the entire world felt effect. In 2014-16, oil and gas downturn. Oil prices went from $100 to $30 in 14 and 16. 17 was Harvey. And then 2020 was the pandemic. So we've gone through some heavy economic downturn. So at the same time, in this period, 14, 15, 16, the litigation settlements really start kicking in, and they have still kick in. We put a 5%, each year we put 5% to the budget that goes back to litigation settlements. All right, now the yellow line. When we were putting the tri-party agreement together, we looked at what a modest, after this year-over-year double-digit increase, what a modest rate going forward would be at 3%. 3% growth each year. That's the yellow one. That's what would have happened if growth would have continued without the tax rate going down. And so we find ourselves in this gap where we projected the tri-party agreement with 3% going up, but it actually being lower. Here is, now this is 2000 to 240 Uptown TIRZ in HISD increment. HISD by state law, they can only go to 2029 on their increment, and they have to stop. So we will see that 2029 increment actually in 2030. Oh, one thing, Steve, you asked in that we had it's our audit finance committee. It's a smaller group. We can't have more than 3. Lisa, Kendall and Stephen were in it. We kind of went through with the spreadsheet. We went through this about 2 weeks ago. The issues, and we will bring back the budget and the spreadsheet on how we're going to resolve this issue. So, this is the increment as we move through the years from 1999. And you saw there it goes up. There's an increment, keeps climbing, and goes flat. This is where we are right now, 2024. 47.8, is that 47.8? Shannon? Total increment. And so what we pay with that, we pay both the city and the HISD's affordable housing. Over this time, we've sent 75 million back to HISD for facilities. They use it for facilities all over HISD's district. City of Houston maintenance agreement, administrative cost, and then projects. That's what we use all the money for. Did I miss any category? And so this is where we've been on the increment we get. This is our projection going forward. And we have a projected 2% tax decrease to FY 2030, 1% thereafter. We hope there's some kind of solution. We'll change this if there is no solution and it keeps going 2%, 5% litigation settlement contingency each year. New development 29 and 30, 400 million. That's this project, Post Oak Partners and Midway. We're going to move that out to you. We just hadn't done it yet, Stephen. We're going to do 30, 31. So we'll move out that growth of 400 million. Growth projected, we are going to project some growth. With these projects, we're hoping other projects go online. 1% early and then 2% toward the end of the TIRZ in 2040. And the HISD rate will continue to go down. We just don't have a handle on how it goes down. It was 96 cents per $100. Now it's 86 cents. So here's where we go. We go this, we're projecting our increment going out to 2029. Again, we'll receive that in 2030, but then we fall off a cliff, and that's what we have. Going out to 2040. That's the increment we'll be going from 50 million to 30 million. So we have a tri-party agreement that was built on projections that keep going up. And we didn't do that because of the economic downturns and other issues. So what we have to do is make sure that one, all the debt's going to get paid off. That's number one. And we already have it in the budget. We put placeholders for this debt we talked about earlier today. Debt gets paid off first, no matter what. And then we've got the tri-party agreement. We have to make sure that number one is maintenance. Maintenance and some of the capital projects. If we spend all the money during these years, we wouldn't have any money to devote to uptown projects or Memorial Park projects later on. What we got to do is we got to spread the money over from 2025, 2026 to 2040. Does that make sense? Which means a big cut in dollars going forward. But at the same time, we got to be responsible with the taxpayers' dollars, and we will be. So, and during these discussions with the people with the tri-party agreement is Uptown, the UDA, the Memorial Park Conservancy, the Kinder Foundation, the Foundation, and the City of Houston. And so we'll be going through many meetings back and forth with all of them. And we've been working. We have spent around, Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, around 75 million since 2013 on Memorial Park. And for almost, this isn't exact, for almost every single dollar, city dollar, which is at the increment, the city dollars, there's been $2 of philanthropy that's been invested in the park. That's a pretty good deal. And so we'll be working on this issue with Memorial Park and the tri-party agreement, and we'll be coming back to y'all with more.
The litigation, is that left over from the widening of Post Oak, or is that just
Every single year.
Somebody sues you every single year? Or you
Yeah.
Property
No,
taxes.
it's the normal
Or the
tax
property tax.
litigation.
Tax litigation.
Oh.
That's all it's about. Yeah, it's not, we're not engaged in anything other than typical landowner protest litigation.
Okay,
And there was
that's a
something,
better kind of litigation.
I
Yes,
mean,
thank you.
yeah, and there was some law, Texas law, in past years that all of a sudden gave them a chance to compare the building to another building close to
No, it's
them?
been like that for quite some time.
Yeah, and then, but they really started using it in these
Well,
years.
because building owners were being treated unfairly.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you'll be seeing,
speaking as a personal matter only.
You're so thin skinned.
About that, yeah.
you'll be seeing this again. You'll be seeing the spreadsheet. We're starting the process of the this year's CIP that we have to finish this summer and give it to the city. And all these meetings will take a long time. So happy to answer any questions outside of this meeting. If you want, I'm happy to go over the spreadsheet we've got. It's a lot of numbers. But again, Uptown's doing great. Retail sales going through the roof. We got new development. We got new restaurants coming in that we can't talk about in a number of places because they haven't publicly announced them. And it's just great. So good with the bad. The other economic development updates. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries just announced they're moving into 33,009 Post Oak Boulevard, which is right across the water wall. Nice, that's a worldwide company that got picked up 2 floors over in 309 Post Oak Boulevard. Transwestern finished the renovation of Grand Duplex. They actually have receptions next week. And it's done. $30 million. That's new paint on the outside. And if you go and click through it, they'll show all the different. The main changes, I think, were in the lobby area and the meeting rooms and the restaurant and bar. They got a new name to the restaurant.
Who owns that?
Transwestern Hospitality. Giorgio sold.
Yeah.
Giorgio's son sold it or something. I forgot which one. One of the two owned it. Lionel is moving in as we speak. They're moving in over 1,000 employees. We don't know exactly how many employees, but they asked for 1,500 parking spots. So it's probably somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500. And so we're working closely with Hines, who still runs the building, on the traffic pattern down there to make sure it's as smooth as possible. We've got TJ, who wasn't able to be here today, is making sure that we got officers out there at those intersections. The flow goes on to the 610. And then new one down at the Lakes on Post Oak. This building traded hands, and it was a lot less than the value it was, but it traded hands and it's going to be redeveloped. This is a very good
Do
thing.
you know what it traded hands for, Michael? You heard?
There's a number in the, Bob, do you know? Did it say?
It did not say.
It didn't, yeah. If we find it, we'll send it to you. We'll
Yeah.
find it.
Oh,
It'll come out somewhere at some point.
Because, you know.
But didn't they say half? I thought it said half in the article. I thought it said half the value in the article.
have the appraised value or one of the purchase.
Oh, well, half the price.
Yeah, I'm just asking what it was purchased for in part because the third building of that project is about to get foreclosed upon.
Yes.
That's the one that was in the same news again about Bechtel vacated the building.
Yeah.
And it's like completely vacant and owes $80 million on it. So it was, you know, but
It's gonna, and they have a skin problem on that building. The outside is, they need to reskin it, and it's gonna take millions to fix the skin. So somebody's gonna get a good deal on that one. I think somebody got a good deal on this one.
yeah,
The Lakes on Post Oak, if you haven't been down there lately, it's beautiful.
it's a nice complex.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, truly.
The biggest issue are the ducks. No, seriously, the ducks, they're almost, some of them, people around that say they're an invasive species, because they populate so quickly. But I love it.
This is under.
Probably paid less than half that amount, which was 130 million, less than half. It just guesstimates in the article.
What's the guesstimate?
It was under contract for 130 million
65.
and says probably paid less than half of that amount.
So it's good that it changed hands because there'll be
Good.
money put into it and new tenants.
Ron is an active, they know how to do things. I'm curious to see what they do.
And then Central Park Post Oak, it hadn't been publicly announced, which is we're Post Oak Central. It will have a new name soon. These are renderings from a luncheon that Bob I and Brad Frills spoke to recently, and he used these in that luncheon. It's going to be luxury mixed use, restaurants, hotel, retail. This is a rendering of what's out front here. The lake will go away. There'll be a road that goes in that matches up with Lynn Street. And they're gonna have 2-story restaurants and retail up against Post Oak Boulevard. Be a lot more traffic, on pedestrian traffic on Post Oak Boulevard. This is gonna be really nice. They're gonna change the skin of all the parking garages. They're gonna have a new traffic pattern in the middle. This is the traffic pattern, new skin. That's the existing parking garage. That's the old parking garage. So you can see all the retail. They're gonna do new street pattern, I think. Is it in here? No, okay. This is what they're gonna have a restaurant in this building that's right across from the street from Annie. It's gonna be a 2-story. That's what they're doing with those poles. On the ground and getting ready to build this out. That's exciting. Central Park, Post Oak.
When's that gonna be announced, Michael?
They're waiting on some of the, they've got people lined up. They're waiting to sign the agreements. And we got an update on Uptown Memorial Park Trail and Bridge. It's going great. Clark, you wanna,
So this is moving forward. Steve, you're on the Memorial Park and Services Standards Committee, so you know this already, but we'll give this update. The project starts at Post Oak Boulevard, goes past Uptown Park Shops, into this old archery range, underneath the West Loop, and then up to Memorial Drive. Along the Uptown Park Boulevard, between that and Post Oak Boulevard, they'll follow the West Loop along the backside of the park, the Uptown Park Shops. And there'll be a promenade there on the backside of Ethan Allen. When you get up to Uptown Park Boulevard, the trail actually will go behind the car so that they can pull out onto the West Loop without a conflict with the crosswalk.
and Clark, this was a record that Villa de Esta, who we need a small right of way from. They said there's a big issue with cars trying to turn on because of the speeds. People are going 50, 60 miles an hour.
Terrible.
On the theater.
That's accurate.
It's terrible.
So this is a great solution. So you
Yeah.
basically fit 2 cars in between the yellow striping and the curb. So that they're not worried about pedestrian or bikes.
Can we put up a fence?
There'll be some kind of dividing so that you.
Oh, to keep the bikes
raise
from going
rocks so that people aren't.
Make the bikes turn,
Yeah.
because some of them are
Right.
obstinate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what there's rocks.
I know.
Yeah.
You've heard of it.
And then we're looking at 2 options for the suspension bridge. The first one is a weathered steel option. The second one would be similar to what we have on Post Oak Boulevard. We don't know exactly if we can do it in stainless steel, but it's something that would have a more futuristic look than the weathered steel. When you cross the bayou, we have 2 photos here. One is on the left, our designers designed the bird watching canopy in High Island on the Gulf of Mexico. And what we see here are on the right side, on those white poles, is how high a walkway has to be in the archery range to stay out of the 500-year floodplain.
Yeah, I just want to make comment though. The photo was taken during the winter on the right side. But in about a week or so, it's gonna be solid green and growing.
And as long as we're going across in these trees, we're looking at different options for walking off that trail. The previous was a square overlook, and this is a diagonal that will either look towards the bayou or into the park or into the highway. This is really interesting. The old Memorial Park photo that you can see on Google Earth. This is Woodway going to, I'll say Post Oak Lane. So Houstonian is in this area. And then this is in the middle of the archery range. Buffalo Bayou is hidden in the trees. This is, think of this before the reservoirs were created. So the water that flowed down Buffalo Bayou wasn't as, the volume wasn't we have today. And Villa d'Este is this estate over here. And the rest of it is Memorial Park. These are roads in Memorial Park that lead to the archery range. And then Kendall, this will show you how it was dissected with the highway. And the road that I showed you before is still in the old archery range, and we'll follow that with the pathway. The bridge will go across Buffalo Bayou and up to that turnaround. We have a shot here that shows the bridge crossing Buffalo Bayou, those boardwalks, and then the trail will go into the woods and come around, go underneath the West Loop. This photo of the tributary is actually a drainage area off the West Loop. You can't see it because of the trees today, but there's a little horseshoe band here that will go beside, and you'll see that. In 1970s, there was a trail underneath the West Loop. Floods have come in and that trail has been undermined and fallen apart. We're basically going to rebuild a trail at pretty much same old location, but we have to redo all the drainage in that area that has also been damaged. TxDOT is going to reimburse us for all this work. We'll end up where you see all that disruption on the left side. We'll be putting in new retaining walls, as you see on the right, which are gabion mats filled with rock, which are easier to get down to the bayou. For work. And then from the bayou, you'll come up into the trees alongside the West Loop. On the left of the photo, you see the existing sidewalk. That'll be removed and a new trail, 10-foot wide, will be put in the trees. And that will go past the Arboretum up to Woodway. These are the crosswalks for Woodway. It's the entrance to Memorial Park, the trails to Memorial Park. We're going to straighten out those crosswalks so it's safer to cross that right turn onto Woodway from the West Loop. And then that will continue up to Memorial Drive, where that'll be another entrance into existing trails, Memorial Park. In addition to Memorial Park signing, we'll have signs that will direct you to destinations in the uptown area. It'll all look like you're in the park. We will finish our design development next month, achieve a guaranteed maximum price by the end of the year from Forney Construction, who's our construction manager at risk, so that we can start construction Q1 of 2026.
There is, the early estimates are a little bit higher by a couple million. And if that happens, we gotta look for places to cut. Most likely to me, there's a lot of people having conversations, will be the segment from Memorial Woodway. And that would be like a stage 2 of the project. But we also have other places we're looking for more dollars to be able to fill in that gap, but we still have a ways to go. And Clark and the team are working hard. Got a good group of professionals working on it. They're here almost every week. Waterwall is 40 years old this year. It is down right now, both sides. The pump on the right, on the north side is being pump and motor being replaced, and they're doing caulking to fill the holes that they have to do every 8 to 10 years. We're going to have a 40-year anniversary. We're trying to do it in May, depending on when this gets fixed. It'll be a small food trucks, balloons, for the new tenants of Williams Tower. These are great photos.
Heinz built that, right?
Heinz built
Yeah.
it. Louis Sklar said that it was almost harder to build the water wall than Williams Tower.
Because of the curve? What?
Because I'm getting the water to all fall evenly.
Oh my
And
gosh.
get it up the tower and then come over and fall evenly without any breaks. And the way they built this, the way they built it floor by floor, and when they finished one floor, maybe they finished 2 floors, they were able to go in and start outfitting the floor they just built. Usually you wait till the whole thing's finished, and then you put the skin on it, and then you do electrical and air conditioning, HVAC and all that. They were able to start working on these floors when they finished the floor above. It was an interesting conversation with. So right now.
Does that make the project go faster?
Yeah, made it go a lot faster. So the water's not, we went out and checked it out. We got a tour of it. They're gonna put new lighting, fix the lightings. The lighting's been crusted over with years and years of water just running over it. These are the pool. We can actually see the cracks in between the walls. And then there's Bob and Clark. It's actually hollow inside. A lot of pipes. This is the new pump. This pump, I think it was Japan or South Korea that it came from, that was manufactured. And this is the new engine, the new motor that came from Canada. So it's an international project. This is the yeah. This is the same. This is the seams they have to fill. And so they're hopefully they'll have it done in the next 4 or 5 weeks. The water wall is probably one of the busiest per square foot parks in the city of Houston. Per square foot. Obviously, there's more people going to Memorial Park, But if you go out on a spring day when this thing's run, I mean, there's hundreds of people out there. We're gonna try to do a little more programming, there, artists and musicians. This weekend's Texas Children's Houston Open, and you know, all the work we've done with Memorial Park, help enhance the outside. The Astros Foundation, Golf Foundations does an amazing job on the golf course. It just looks gorgeous. Hopefully the rain holds off this weekend. Bob helped them get parking, for this, about 300 parking spots. SB Engineering over there off 59 is one of their, it's the main parking lot they've got for buses shuttling to it. And look at that good photo of Uptown back there. That's gorgeous. And then the spring planting is getting ready to start. You can see a lot of the beds have been pulled up. There's still some yellow pansies that make it through freezes. They're getting ready to come up and they're gonna have the this is an old photo. They're gonna be putting out the spring flowers, spring color. If you can see these photos, these trees are probably 4 times the size right now. They're busting out of their collars.
They're doing great.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work on it. So any questions?
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
We will now recess Uptown Development Authority meeting, reconvene the TIRZ meeting and adjourn reinvestment zone number 16 and the Uptown Development Authority.
You need a vote for that? I'll vote for that.
Done.